The Remarkable People Podcast. Check it out. The Remarkable People Podcast. Listen, do, repeat. For life.
Hello, friends. I'm David Pasqualone, and welcome to this special bonus episode of the Remarkable People Podcast. Now, this is kind of a pet story and something close to my heart. Literally, we're going to talk about my pet, Vinnie. So this isn't necessarily a remarkable story, but it's a cool story, and it's about my cute little puppy named Vinnie. Say hi, Vinnie. If you're listening to this, you don't see this cute little mini Dachshund that's kind of, he's 11 years old, and he looks kind of like what's that called? A Doberman a little bit. He loves his chest being rubbed, and he loves being cuddled. And what most people don't know is most of the time I'm recording the podcast, he's sleeping on my lap. So he's a good little dog. Now, this is Vinnie's collar, and these are his dog tags with our phone number on them. And they almost never come off Vinnie. But in this story, this weekend, I took the collar off Vinnie because it was so filthy. And we washed it. And then I'm thinking, he's a black colored dog. And his leash is orange. And you can see that if you're watching on YouTube. But it makes him look like a pumpkin. So why not get him a new collar and tags? So I went on to Amazon. And I ordered a couple new collars, iridescent, like glow-in-the-dark blue and yellow. That way he'll stand out at night and be safe. And I took off his tags. And then I said, I got to put the leash on him, so I got to put the collar on him. But I'm not going to put the tags back on because I ordered it on Saturday. It's Sunday. Everything's coming in on Monday. Why take the time to do that? Why take the 10 seconds to put those tags on? Guess what Vinnie did? 11 years old, never run away from home, 99.9999972. He has his collar and tags on. But the one day that I leave to go meet people for appointments in town and I leave him up at the farm, Vinnie decides to run away. So I get back, my dog is gone. The tags are in my hands, and I'm like, where is Vinnie? So if you want to learn what happened to the dog tags and what happened to the dog, he's obviously safe because you've seen him, but keep listening. So what happened was this. Vinnie, when he was a puppy, we bought him at a pet store, and we don't normally buy dogs at pet stores, but we bought him at a pet store, and this is why. When we walked in, we saw this cute little pitiful creature that was in the cage all by himself. And when he was in that cage, my kid's like, "Oh, Dad, can we hold him? Can we hold him?" I'm like, "Sure." And he was super sweet. And actually, let me clarify. At first, I was just with my daughter on a daddy-daughter date. And then she loved this dog, and he was so sweet, but he was in that kennel so long that he couldn't even walk. This guy who can now jump into a lifted truck couldn't even walk. His legs were like rubber. So we ended up buying him at the pet store instead of like $1,800, which now they go for like $3,500. We got him for $188. The lowest price dog ever sold out of that pet store to this day after speaking with the owners. And that included the vet, the neutering, spading, whatever you call it, the microchip, and a bag of food. So why am I telling you all this? Because at first Vinnie couldn't walk, and now he's taken an exploration you're going to learn about today. But 3 months ago, I took him to the vet. He's got bad breath. He's an old dog. I don't brush his teeth. And when the vet was in there, they had to pull some teeth. And I'm like, for the money I just paid, what else can you do? So one of the things they did is they checked his microchip. I said, check it, make sure it's still working. So they make sure it's still working, but the information was out of date. So I had him update the information, not really thinking about it. I didn't even know if it would work. So we went ahead, got him home, and then 3 months later, we're today. Today he takes off, and I'm like, where's Vinny? I'm like, God, please help me to find him. I love that dog. He's so sweet. And then as I'm going out for the second time to look for him on the main road, I get a phone call. And the phone call comes in from the American Kennel Club tag service saying, we found a dog registered to you. Can you describe your dog? I'm like, are you serious? I have his tags. Out of his 10, 11 years of life, they've been off him like 3 days, 2 of which were recently because we're waiting for the new tags to come in from the Amazon, right? Total blessing. Like, how did they find him and get him to a vet so quick? What happened was I live off 95A now, and it's really a back road, but there's construction going on and they're doing some forestry. So there's trucks with trees going back and forth. And then there was a big funeral down the road at a church. So this was like probably the busiest day I've ever seen the road that I'm living off of now. And according to sources, my dog didn't just cross the road. This little guy got into the road, walked smack down the middle of the road, and cars and trucks on a single lane each side are dodging him at 55, 60 miles an hour, and he's not budging. Just walking down the road like everything's okay. So finally, I guess, a woman who was going to the funeral pulled her car over, stopped traffic on both sides, took him, put him in her car, drove to her friend's house, dropped him off, went to the funeral, came back, got the dog, and guess how God orchestrated this? She is an American Kennel Club breeder of long-haired Dachshunds. So I guess she had the chip reader. She reads the chip reader, puts in the call, they call me, and I get my little boy, little monkey dog back. And that's what happened today. So, irony, take your dog's collar off just for a day, and that's the one day he runs away? Crazy. But if you have a pet you love, I never even believed those chips worked. I thought it was a big scam just to make some money. But now I'm really thankful we had that, because if not, I wouldn't have my little dog back. So that's it. I'm Dave Pasqualone. This is the Remarkable People Podcast bonus episode. And this is Vinnie Hercules Pasqualone. We call him my cousin Vinny because he's got another friend called Jasper. All right. Bye. You guys have a great day. We love you. And we'll see you next week with a new episode, The Ben Baker Story. Ciao.
The Remarkable People Podcast. Check it out. The Remarkable People Podcast. Listen, do, repeat. For life.